Welcome to Stuff and Things. My name is Chase.
And I'm Jess.
And this is our podcast where we discuss the random stuff and things that interest us and influence our business and our everyday life. And today we wanted to do something different since this is now episode 5. So we thought we would try something that'll be a little bit of a series every 5 episodes. We wanted to call it our 5s on 5.
Yes.
And we were kind of debating whether we should come up with some like nifty jingle or something like that, but I'm not sure if that's going to be a thing.
I tried real hard and every single one he shot down for some reason.
Well, they all sounded like bad car commercials.
Come on. They were amazing. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but either way, so today we just decided we were going to kind of do a series. So every 5 episodes, we wanted to pick 5 things from one topic that kind of are our favorites of that category. And so we figured that today we would start with music.
Yes.
Because music plays a huge part in both of our lives.
Absolutely.
It is a huge driver for both of us as far as motivation goes. What we turn to when we're feeling happy or sad or angry or whatever. I feel like that's kind of common for a lot of people. Is music is a very big part of most people's lives.
Yeah.
And so I think
sure.
So I feel that we can talk about that for just a little bit. It's probably end up being a little bit of a shorter episode than normal, which maybe our listeners will appreciate. We'll gauge the metrics and see if a shorter episode than 50 minutes is what people like.
Yes. But it'll still be fun to talk about our favorite things. So we kind of talked about like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to present this? How are we going to talk about music that we love? Or we're just going to do 5 of our favorite artists? Or how are we going to approach this? And we kind of decided to break it down into a couple categories, which will unveil themselves. But first, we're going to talk about a couple of the artists that we're really into right now. Or just in general. Yeah.
So people who are artists or bands that kind of influence us or really that we really kind of jive with, I guess. Yeah. And people that really are, I guess, musically talented that we really enjoy. So if you want to kick it off, you can start with your first thing.
Sorry, I keep yawning. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm so tired. We've had a busy week.
Yeah, we actually have had a very crazy week. It's October, which is the busy season for photographers. Everybody's trying to get their fall pictures in, and we are no excuse for that. Or excuse.
We're not immune to
that. It's been a long week.
Yes.
And so we actually had a photo shoot today. We had 2 photo shoots yesterday, and that was just the start of it. We got one on Wednesday. It's a pretty big one.
Yeah, kind of huge. But anyway, so it's been a long week and we're a little tired. So bear with me. Sorry if I yawn in the mic or in the video. I really am excited to be here and talk to Chase because
it's a good time.
It's a good time. All right, so I will start us off. I know this is one we both wrote down.
It is.
So we're going to start with this one.
Yeah.
So we love Chris Stapleton, which I know if you know us and you see us out and about, you might think that's really weird, but we love Chris Stapleton so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's definitely been a big artist that we've kind of found over the last year or so. I know he's been around for a lot longer than that, but we really kind of discovered him for ourselves within that last year. And it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Like you said, if people see us, I mean, I have several tattoos and so do you. And yeah, I've gone from counting how many tattoos I have to how much percentage wise my body is covered. Yeah. So it's, I'm to that point at this point. Yeah. But we are definitely more of the rock and roll type looking couple, I would say. And to say that Chris Stapleton, who is definitely a country artist through and through, is one of our favorites is pretty funny.
It is. Yeah, but he's so good. Like, just the musicality of his work and the lyricist that he is, like, it's just magic. Yeah. He writes these songs and you're like, how? You probably spent 5 minutes on that. Like, I remember reading this thing on his Instagram about how the entire Traveler album is written from little lists that his wife would leave around the house. And that was the inspiration. And he wrote an entire album.
And won a Grammy from it.
I mean, come on. Like, that just doesn't even seem fair.
Yeah.
But it's amazing.
Well, Chris Stapleton, too, though, he started his music career as a songwriter. So he wrote songs for several country artists and pop artists and things like that. And won a couple of Grammys, if I'm not mistaken, through those songs that he wrote for other artists, and then decided, like, you know what, I can write songs, I can write music,
and he can
surprise,
sing.
I have a killer voice, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do this myself now.
Yes.
But it's great. It's really funny for me because I did grow up in Colorado, out in the Wild West, out in the land where there's actual cowboys and you know, country, and I never really liked country music, like, at all. Like, actually hated country music. And I'm still not a huge fan of country music by any means. But then with Chris Stapleton, though, I feel like there's this, it's just a little different.
Yeah.
There's this, like, classic, like, Americana type rock and a lot of, like, blues influence, and it's like that good old, like, Johnny Cash country.
Yes.
And or like Bob Dylan country.
Johnny
I mean,
Cash. Bob Dylan's not country.
Technically he is.
He's folk.
He's folk, okay. But anyways, so I've fallen in love with that, but I still don't like country music.
I had a phase in high school for sure where I listened to a lot of country music. I mean, Ohio, what you gonna do? But there's still times when, like, there's a poppy country song out there that I love. But what I really, really, really love about Chris Stapleton is that he has his wife, Morgan, on every album with him. She sings backup and plays tambourine, and they tour together, and it's just so beautiful. And, like, their harmonies
are so good.
They're like butter.
Yeah.
Just,
So if you haven't heard Chris Stapleton, I would definitely highly recommend
right now.
Go and binge listen to all three of his albums.
Yes, and he has a new album coming out, and the teaser songs so far have been
so good.
So good.
And spoiler alert, we get to go see him in April.
Yay!
We're taking a little vacation together. We're going to go and see him with
Willie Nelson.
It's going to be really awesome. We're super pumped, if you can't tell.
Yes, it's going to be.
Yeah. So that's our big concert that we've got scheduled for next year. But
yeah,
because if you guys don't know us, concerts are one of our big things that we really enjoy together. We love going to shows. We love spending time listening to live music.
Well, I mean, it's fitting because that's how we met.
Yeah, it is exactly how we met. Go check out episode 1.
Yeah.
And we have always had that love of going to concerts together and really enjoyed, like, discovering new bands through that and discovering people that we haven't ever heard of before and then been, like, blown away by.
Yes.
And so we definitely love concerts, and that is something we are very much missing in 2020.
Oh yeah, it's been such a bummer.
Yeah, there were so many good shows too that were scheduled this year that we really wanted to see, and then all of them got canceled or postponed. And this Chris Stapleton tour was supposed to happen this year.
Yeah.
And
so we would not have
caught the new album release nonetheless.
No, I know. I'm so excited.
And then he postponed his tour, and he's coming to Columbus, but we thought, who wants to go to a concert in the city that's right next to us? Let's drive 5 hours for this.
Well, that, and we started looking at tickets and just wondering, like, okay, what about some of these closer cities? Like, you know, Lexington's only about 3 hours, or, you know, he's going to a lot of cities that are close enough to us that we're like, well, let's see what their ticket prices are. And this one was, like, significantly cheaper. And it's the only one he's doing with Willie Nelson.
Yeah, it's actually a benefit.
How is that a thing?
It's a benefit concert in Kentucky. So that'll be really a cool thing for us too. It'll be just a little different vibe. And we bought floor passes.
I'm so excited.
We're actually going to get up close and personal at the concert, and it's going to be a blast.
It's going to be amazing.
But so that was both of our first one.
So who's your second?
All right. So my second band, after we both wrote down Chris Stapleton, because we are almost the same human. My second band is actually a band that I've been listening to for a really long time. It's a band called The Classic Crime.
And they're very good.
They're very good.
So good.
I was actually turned on to this band by a good friend of ours, Chris Mullen from Montrose. I know that I think that they listen to the podcast. So if they're listening, thank you, Chris, for this excellent recommendation.
And if you feel so inclined, go check out Chris Mullen music. A little shameless plug there for him.
He's also a fantastic artist.
Fantastic musician.
But they are just a brilliant band from Seattle. They're super low key, but then also like really heavy hitting. So for me, growing up listening to like, I listened to all the classic rock growing up of, Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and AC/DC and all that stuff growing up with my dad. But then after that, I progressed heavier into all the hardcore scene and the metalcore. And I was, lived that life for a long time and still very much love all of that music. We both do. But this band really just kind of like tickles both those fancies, right?
Yes, it does.
Like they have really great harmonies and melodies. They're really nice, like clean spoken lyrics. And then they also have some like heavy hitting rock and roll songs, which are just awesome.
It's not screamo
by any means, but
it
is definitely like heavier hitting, which is fun.
Yeah.
They're good to listen to really for anything. So they have great lyrics, great writing, and on top of it, they are a Christian band through and through.
Yes.
But like not in the way you would think.
No.
So they're not like an overt like worship band.
It's a bit more like I think of like Switchfoot in the early 2000s, where like they played them on regular radio.
Yeah. But they're kind of like
thing.
They're kind of like
I'm not
Paramore.
saying I'm not. Oh yeah, that's
like
a better example.
How Paramore is they have Christian ideals and Christian beliefs, and they are Christians, but they don't write like worship songs per se.
Yes.
But there is definitely an undertone of Christian lyrics and faith in the music, and it's more written through like metaphor, and it's really awesome.
It is.
So they're definitely one of my favorite bands. I've been listening to them for forever. I mean, since 2009, 2010, probably. When Chris kind of led me to them.
Yeah.
And they also have a song called Solar Powered Life, which I recommend listening to that one first if you want to learn about exactly how Jess operates with the sunshine. So
I'm not that okay.
Anyways, what is your second?
My
favorite?
second. This was hard for me. I if you were to ask me, like, at any given time, who's your favorite musician, who's your favorite, like, I can't pick that. So I kind of just went on what I've been listening to more lately. Yeah. Because I love music, and there's a time and a place for everything. Like,
for sure.
I turn to like Adele songs when I want to sing, and I'll listen to like the Mowgli's when I want to feel really happy because their music's super happy. But there's a couple there's just some bands that really stick with you, and for me, The Head and the Heart is one of those bands. They are so talented,
like unbelievably talented,
so incredible. So incredible, and just write such wonderful music that
it's so unfair how talented they are. Like they wrote their first album when they were in their late teens, early 20s. Like
something like that.
And they were like a band of what, 6, 5?
I think they're 6.
Yeah,
no, they're 5 now
5.
because
But this first album, like, you would never guess that these kids were kids. First off, and then on top of that, we're like. It's their first album. I mean, it is insane.
The thing for me with them is like, you know how some bands, like, their first album comes out and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then the next one, you're like, well, that kind of stunk, and now I'm bummed. Yeah. Like, I want what they used to do. This band continues to grow as a band and, like, become progressively somehow better, even though they were already amazing. But they also are like true to themselves, and they stick with their musicality, and like, I don't know, like, it's just so amazing. It's so amazing. And yeah, I would really recommend the listen because it is so good. And they write songs that like, some are really happy, some are really sad and make you like, feel all the feels. Yeah. Yeah.
And we got to see them live also a couple years ago.
No, we didn't.
No, we saw them, The Head and the Heart, a couple of years ago.
Oh, we did. Yes, we did. We did.
Yeah. We saw them with a band called Fox.
Good. And they were Fox is good too. Go listen to them too.
they were so good. And like, that's the one thing that we really judge bands on pretty heavily is, yes, you may have a really awesome studio album. You may have an awesome studio feel, but can you do it live?
Blind Pilot was at that show too.
So good.
So good, you guys.
Anyways,
good.
This could be like a 5-day long talk about how many bands we really enjoy.
Yes.
And we did say it was going to be shorter, but I don't think it's going to be.
Probably not. Sorry, guys.
So I think that the next one that we should talk about is what do we work out to? Like, what's your go-to workout music? We have recently started enjoying running. I know it's crazy. People hate running. I hate running, but I'm actually starting to like running. It's kind of a fun way to clear our heads, kind of a fun way to get outside and enjoy nature, and then do something that's a little bit just together, us, but also like an isolated thing, because we are so competitive with each other. If we are trying to like lift weights, or we did CrossFit for a little while, and that was
it was bad. We hurt ourselves.
We hurt ourselves because we competed too hard with each other. But so we started running. What?
That sounds awful. That sounds like
well, we started running 2 months ago, maybe 3 months ago, and we've really enjoyed it. But with that comes the ability to just kind of zone out and listen to some music. But I feel like they are a little bit different. So what are you running to?
Well, lately, last time I tried like the pop workout Apple Music radio, which is not my norm, but I need something with a beat. And I was just wanting to try something, and I'm kind of disappointed that I did. Because typically I will pick like, there's an Andy Mineo Lecrae song that's called Coming In Hot. And it's so good. I love it so much.
It's got a killer beat.
So as some of our friends have called it, holy hip hop.
Holy hip hop.
But I really love Andy Mineo, Lecrae. Just, it's really good music that's really uplifting. And I feel like then I use my time while I'm running to like pray and think about the words that they're saying, or think about like the truth that they're sharing within their work. And it's just a good time. And it kind of keeps me less focused on how bad my knees hurt or how much I want to stop.
And you think about a lot more when you run than I do.
Oh, I think about lots of things. Do you not think while you're running?
Just how much it sucks.
Oh. You don't think about other things?
No.
Oh. This is weird.
It's a place to clear my head, so it's
like I think
clear.
About the weird smells that we smell on the bike path, and I'm like, do you think that's a dead body, or do you think like you
would like, know if it was a dead body?
I would. Okay, good, because I'm always like, should I be investigating? Is there someone in those woods that needs help? No. I think about a lot of things. Yeah. Yes. Like the sign that says dog training area. I always hope that we'll see the dogs training. Our bike path has these signs. We're really on a rabbit trail, but that's okay. Our bike path has these signs along the side that say like dog training area, like and
private property.
I'm really always hoping that I can figure out what kind of training they're doing with their dogs.
And they have like these like they're like deer hunting blinds, almost like tree stands. They're like tree houses, but they're built out of wood and they're permanent structures. And there's like 3 or 4 of them scattered throughout the woods along the bike path that are on the dog training property.
Like, do you think they're like disability dogs that they're training?
No,
to like be helper dogs?
That they're
service
law
dogs,
enforcement dogs, and they're training, or search and rescue dogs, and they're training them in search and rescue. But I actually don't think that the people that had that live there anymore. I think they sold that.
Man,
I don't see any dogs there anymore. But anyways,
I just want to see the dogs. Sorry. Anyway, keep going.
My go-to running music, though, it varies quite a bit.
Yeah,
I feel like, depending on what I'm feeling that day, I'll either listen to some rap, or I'll listen to the classic crime. That's been kind of a go-to sometimes. Okay. But
I could see that having enough beats per minute to like.
Most of the time, though, set your pace. I will listen to some hardcore. So I've been really into a band called Architects lately. They're really good.
Pretty good.
They're pretty heavy, but I also have to find something that doesn't have too fast of a beat,
or else you run too fast.
Because then I feel like I'm just sprinting the whole time. And
there was
one day the other week that we started running, and I was listening to something heavy that just had like this crazy like blast beat, just like over and over, and it was like it made me run so fast. I was running like a minute a mile faster pace than I should have been. And I felt it like almost immediately. I looked down at my watch and I was like, this is bad. Like I need to change these songs. But yeah, so I've been finding that that's what I do a lot, those listen to that kind of stuff, just because it gets me going. Yes. And then like hip hop, it's hard because I have to listen to something that also has pretty driving beat with it. Yeah. So I can't listen to anything that's kind of a little slower, like R&B type stuff, or like
I have to skip those.
Even like, I mean, like Drake, he gets really slow in a lot of his songs. Yeah. And so like I can't listen to even like mainstream hip hop, I feel, because a lot of it has that kind of real slow, kind of like almost feels like a love song beat to it. So it's hard for me to find something that's got a good driving beat with that. So I usually just revert back to hardcore. Yeah. Or metal or metalcore or anything that really has like
core in the name.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I think of when I run. Yes. But I don't really think about anything besides like how much I hate running.
But I mean, that's kind of the truth of us in general. Like I think all the time. Yeah. Like my mind doesn't shut off.
What do you think about people who listen to like a podcast while they run?
So I used to, when I was still working out at home, like when you were working and I was staying home and I would work out during the day and lift weights. Yeah. I would listen to a podcast and that I kind of liked because I do tend to be like a speed weightlifter where I just want to get it over with because it's awful. But I found that like I kind of enjoyed listening to like a really good, like motivational podcast kind of thing, like whether it be something about like self-improvement or like setting goals, you know, all of those good things. Like I don't know that I could do it while running though. I really like the times that my music is cut out, like my run time is like
and I always think that I want to, and then because I do enjoy listening to podcasts when I'm like doing stuff around the house or like, and you know, it's nice to just kind of learn things in that realm. But as far as like running goes, like, I don't know if I want to do that. Maybe I'll give it a try next time. Yeah. Yeah. We should run tomorrow. And I think that I'll try that. So
yeah, I won't.
We'll see how it goes. We'll report back later.
Yeah. We'll circle back on that topic.
But I think at that point in time, why don't we go ahead and take a quick break? Okay. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about something fun. We're going to talk about our guilty pleasure.
Yikes. That comes confession with music. Time is about to come.
So stand by and we will be right back. All right, and welcome back after that short break. Like we promised, the next topic we want to talk about is our guilty pleasure of music choice. So this is where it gets kind of fun here, where Jess is going to reveal something hilarious.
It's not hilarious. Why is it hilarious?
It's hilarious because you actually like good music. But we all have them. We all have guilty pleasures. We all have things that we listen to, like in the car by ourselves, or you're singing, you're belting it out all alone, and that you feel a little embarrassed about if your friends knew that you were doing this. And so I feel that it's a good place to share this on our 5 for 5.
I think you should go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So my guilty pleasure is I actually really like punk bands and metal bands that do covers of pop songs. Now hear me out. They're awesome.
They actually are really good.
So it's worth there's a whole series of like compilation albums called Punk Goes Pop. I think
they've been doing them for like ever.
I think there are 9 of them now, and they release them like every other 2000s. Year or so. And so they're all these bands that I like grew up listening to, that I've always really enjoyed as far as like in the metal scene goes. And then they've gone ahead and done like covers of like Taylor Swift or like really ridiculous
surprisingly
things.
It works so well.
It does. It works so well.
There are some that don't.
Absolutely. There's some really garbage trash ones for sure. But I think that there are some really, really good ones. And it seems like every single one that's a Taylor Swift song is like even better. And I find myself like, I love it. I've listened to all 9 of the albums. I'm pretty sure that I have all 9 of them on my phone in my Apple Music playlist.
I would agree with that.
And yes. I love them. But the flip side of that is that I do find myself then like learning the lyrics to all these pop songs because I really enjoy them from the metal standpoint.
Yes.
But then when I hear that pop song come on the radio, like I'll start humming along to it or I'll start singing it. And then you always look at me, you're like, how do you know this song? And I'm like, oh, it's just, you know, I've heard it before in this thing.
Yeah.
So it's always a little embarrassing in that. It's even more embarrassing when you're out in public and you're like bobbing your head to like, you know, a Taylor Swift song or like a Dua Lipa song or something like that. But I do love them quite a bit. And I do find myself coming back to those albums.
Yeah,
again
he does.
And again
He's not lying.
And there's a new band that came out. Oh crap, what's their name?
I don't know.
I'll look it up and I'll link it in the show notes, but they only do covers of like pop songs or new singles and things like that.
I can't remember their name.
I'll find it and I'll link it in the show notes below so you guys can take a look at it. But
sorry, I'm yawning again.
They're a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
So your turn to divulge your guilty pleasure of music.
So you may feel bad about your Taylor Swift stuff, but my guilty pleasure is like poppy music, like Taylor Swift,
like bubblegum pop.
Yes, it is like it is absolutely bubblegum pop. Like you have heard this song. I've played it for you. The Maren Morris song, "The Feels."
Yep.
I love that song so much. It's so fun. I don't know. I like things with a fun beat and like it's that easy breezy like Taylor Swift's Paper Rings.
Mm-hmm.
One about like I'd marry you with paper rings. It's just cute. I mean, come on. It's just adorable and they're fun. And like there's some Ed Sheeran that I like. It's just, yeah, that's my guilty pleasure. I like bubblegum pop music.
It's not all bad.
No.
Like, I don't know if I would want to like go to a concert and go like endure the like teenage screams from it. But like at the same time, like I enjoy listening to it sometimes. So
yeah.
I don't know if that's so guilty as it is. But like I did say though, you like you were an indie girl through and through. Mm-hmm. You love like the super like hyper talented bands that like experiment with new music theory and like
that is true.
Break all the rules of music theory and are doing like all these crazy avant-garde things. Like, and then you're sitting over here like jamming to Lizzo.
Yeah.
And, like
Bjork and Lizzo all in the same moment. Yeah. I
really
know.
Good stuff.
I'm a bit of an anomaly in that, but I mean, sometimes it's so fun.
You just need some mindless music sometimes.
Want some fun to dance to.
Yeah.
And like sing along with. And
I feel like you listen to pop music a lot too when you're like cleaning the house or when you're like doing things like that. Cause it's really easy to just kind of listen to it, but like also walk away from it. Like, so if you have to go to another room or something like that, you can still kind of hear the beat and kind of bob your head and like keep going with whatever you're doing. But like, you're not necessarily like sitting down, like doing like an analysis of the album.
That is true. But I mean, if we're going to, Taylor Swift's quite the songwriter. Like literally every song she writes is catchy and it's kind of annoying. It helps that she has Jack Antonoff on her side.
Jack Antonoff is the singer-songwriter from Bleachers.
Oh, he's so good.
And he is so good.
So good. Okay.
All right.
So on that note, actually, that was a perfect segue and you didn't even know it. You're like Mike Pence's debate. Remember, the moderator kept telling him, "Oh, that's a perfect segue. Thank you."
Yeah, right into the next question.
Thank you for that perfect segue. We were also wanting to talk about.
Just throw politics right down in there.
I wasn't meaning it as anything political. It just reminded me of how she kept thinking and forgiving her.
We're going to keep politics 100% out of this
We don't care how you vote. We love you anyway.
Absolutely.
But
anyways,
I just thought it was funny that she kept saying that and then you gave the perfect segue.
Perfect segue.
So the next thing we want to talk about is our favorite concerts. And why I say this is a perfect segue is because one of mine was the Bleachers concert. It was at the outdoor pavilion, the LC Pavilion in
Express
Columbus.
Live for
Sorry, that's what it's called now. Whatever. But it was so good.
Yes.
And they are so musically talented.
Mm-hmm.
And like, in the midst of the show, they brought out the saxophone that they had bought at this store and like challenged Jack Antonoff to like learn how to play it before.
Yep.
It was all in Columbus. So he did this like the day of, and they challenged him to learn one of the songs because they have a saxophonist in the band and he plays like a bunch of instruments. But anyway, and so he did.
Yep,
and then he played it was ridiculous.
So good.
So good. But
they put on a phenomenal show. Like, they're great showmen.
So great. And it was Muna, who I didn't know a whole lot, but they put on a decent show.
Yeah.
Like, first time I've ever said this, but I would say that their live show was better than the albums that I've tried to listen to since.
I would agree.
And then
they had a lot of energy.
We knew Mr. Wives were going to be there,
which was awesome.
When they're amazing. Love them. There was, though, this like, hey, surprise.
So we got to the concert and we got there a little late, and we thought that it was just going to be Mr. Wives, Mona, and Bleachers, were all the people that were on the ticket. And so then we got to the concert and we are sitting down and we're like getting ready to just wait for the show to start or whatever. Yeah. And out comes this person on the stage who...
No, it was after Muna. Muna had played.
Oh, that's right.
And then this person comes out on stage and I was like...
killing it. Like, we're like, this is great. Like, is this Mr. Wives? Because like maybe it was an album that we haven't heard or something like that. And then we found out there's this person named Bishop Briggs.
Oh man, and can she sing?
She came out on stage and just slayed it. Like, she's so good. She had like these killer beats. Like, the bass was so good. Her lyrics were awesome. Like, she had so much energy on stage.
Yes, she does.
And like just killed it. And it was such an awesome, unexpected surprise for that concert.
It was like a bonus extra person, and it was a fantastic find because she's so good. Mm-hmm. And she was relatively new at that point. Like, she only had an EP out at this point, and it was
we were just awesome. Yeah.
Sold. So I went into the car, when we got into the car after we left, and I was putting her on her Apple iTunes good. And it was so fun. So Absolutely. That was one of mine.
One of yours.
I can't just pick one.
No, me either. So I actually broke the rules. I cannot pick one favorite concert by any means. I've been going to shows since 2005 very regularly, and I've seen a lot of awesome bands. I have a few standouts that I were just things I'm yep, I can check that off the bucket list because that's a cool concert, like Marilyn Manson and Slayer, and I saw 9 Inch Nails, and I saw all these bands that came up through the 90s and that were just iconic bands.
Yeah.
But they weren't necessarily my favorite artists in the world or anything like that. Uh-huh. So what I actually went ahead and did is I wrote down 3 shows in the last year. I guess we'll call it 2 years because
I wrote down 5
because 2020 didn't really count. But so between end of 2018 and 2019, these are my 3 favorites that I've seen so far. Top of the list though was our most recent show was Thrice.
Oh, so
we got an opportunity to see them here in Columbus, and they were playing a tour for their Visu album. It was actually the 10-year anniversary of their Visu album, and this album is just incredible, cover to cover, one of the best listens that I could find in a long time. It is just musically, it's so dynamic. It's all over the place as far as what their old stuff was to this album. They were experimenting so much more. Their guitarist Teppo, he really just took control of the reins and really went all out on this album. Yeah. Their lyrics are incredible. And so we got to go see this show, and they played the whole album cover to cover. They played for an hour and a half.
And the lighting show was gorgeous. But we can't forget, that was the first time I ever got to see Me Without You, which I love them so much. But then, surprise spoiler, half of them had the flu. So they came out and played this acoustic set that was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard. It was amazing.
It was so good.
It was so amazing.
But we met some friends there too. And it was a fun night. It was a great really experience. Fun. And that concert is one of my standouts for sure.
Yeah.
The second one would be August Burns Red with Fit for a King.
Good.
That was actually at the same venue at the Midland, right?
Midland.
Not Midland. Sorry, that's Denver.
Newport.
Yes. Sorry, I'm still on my Denver venues.
Midland's not in Denver either. It's in downtown Newark.
Is it?
Yes.
Whatever. It's
You've
late.
literally never been there.
It's a long week. But yeah, no, so we saw them at the Newport. And it was just a killer show. August Burns Red is a band that I've been listening to since.
I thought we saw that one at Scully's.
No. We saw Fit for a King the first time at Scully's.
Oh yeah, and it was really good.
It was awesome.
Okay.
But we saw
right.
we saw August Burns Red with Fit for a King at the Newport.
Yes.
And they've been a band that I've been listening to since like 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And just
August Burns Red or
August Burns Red.
I was like, Fit for a King's new.
Band. But that show was just incredible.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun to go there and kind of relive those glory days of like the hardcore shows and just really have a fun.
And they still deliver. Like
my gosh, just so good.
Your gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
It was so good.
It was so good.
Like,
he lost words and just says letters. Oh.
But it was a killer show. They played a really great set. Their drummer is like one of the best drummers that is in the metal genre for sure.
And metal drummers are just like, it's wild.
Yes.
Wild.
Absolutely. And then third and finally, another 10-year anniversary show, which makes me feel so old that all these albums are celebrating like 10-year anniversaries because I remember when they came out and I remember buying them on CD when they came out and like or like downloading them on LimeWire like or something like that. Napster. But like having these albums celebrate these like 10-year anniversaries is just crazy to me. But the third one we went to was Norma Jean, and it was their 10-year anniversary of Oh God, the Aftermath.
Yes.
And that album is heavy, like so heavy, and they played the whole album cover to cover. That one was at
so Park Street Saloon, right? Before
that was at Park Street Saloon before it closed. Yeah, so
sad,
tiny little venue, like,
so loud. I thought my eardrums were gonna bleed.
And you have those like super hot, like sweaty, like
it was
mosh
exactly
pit.
Like being at Sock's place
in Denver.
I don't even know. Like, is that still a place? The Marquee a little bit. Sock's Place is even smaller, and I feel like they're more grungy hardcore bands that play there.
Yeah,
like,
but it's just like you can't escape people. Like you're just like shoulder to shoulder with people, and like just being bounced around.
Obviously,
and like
pre-COVID,
the mosh pit is like the whole floor.
So like if you don't want to be
in the mosh pit,
in the pit, you have to like stand at the very back, like, up against the wall.
So those were three shows that were really big standouts for me in the last year that I really enjoyed. And I enjoyed dragging you along too.
Oh, whatever. I was super excited about all of those. I'm pretty sure I bought the Norma Jean tickets.
You might have.
Because I've listened to all of those bands just as long as you have. But yeah, so,
what were your others?
So for me, I actually also put down Fit for a King, August Burns Red, because that one was so exciting for me. Because I started listening to August Burns Red in like 2005, about the same time you did. A kid I worked with at Starbucks was like, "Oh, you like hardcore music? You should listen to this."
Yeah.
And I was like, sold.
Yeah.
I'm in. So I also put down Paramore because we saw them with Foster the People.
That was an awesome show.
Such a fun show. They played like most of the After Laughter album, and then like
they had like a weird interlude too. Like they had like acoustic set.
They played a Drake song in an acoustic set. It was kind of awesome.
It was cool.
But yeah, they're just Hayley Williams has an amazing voice. I have listened to them since about 2004 as well. And just have really felt a connection to that band. It actually like in my wilder days, they were one that I still listened to. And in their first couple of albums, they still had a couple like bonus tracks that were about faith. Yeah. That just really like were part of the reason of like I was able to come back to faith. Like I remember being at their show at the Fillmore in Denver in 2007 or something like that. So I've seen them 3 times.
Yeah, they're awesome.
It's a little crazy. But like, and they put a psalm up on the like screens as they were playing, and like it just really was one of those moments for me that like I can still see in my mind of like God speaking like, hey.
And they're another one of those bands that has like continually progressed musically and like continue to grow as artists and continue to put out music that's a little different. Like this last album, After Laughter, like a lot of it, like some of this,
it's about mental health.
It's about mental health, but like some of the songs have almost like a retro like feel to them, and it's a lot of fun. So that was a fun one.
That was a really fun one. And then Young the Giant, we've seen them twice now. Their first show though was so killer.
It was. Yeah,
I like their newer album. I'm blanking on names. I'm really bad at album names.
Yeah.
And song names.
But like the first show we saw them at was awesome. Like they're just so musically talented.
Who else were they with? I can't.
I don't remember because they stole the whole show.
Like I was like, oh, those people were great, but
I think it was like a co-headlining tour. But the second show we saw them with, they played with Joywave and Coin.
No, that was. Yes, they played with Joywave the first time.
Maybe it was. I don't know. We've seen
Joywave is also really awesome.
But
so good.
Not to get super sidetracked, but I want to kind of throw a little spin on this one that I didn't tell you about.
Oh no,
So we talked about favorite concerts and how we have like so many favorite concerts, but I wanted to talk about least favorite concert that you've gone to.
Oh no.
Because I have one in mind and it hasn't really have anything to do with the music. Or I
already know.
But like, so last year, 2019, we went out of town with some friends and
you stole my concert.
And the trip was awesome. We enjoyed so much spending that time with our friends and taking like meeting in a city that was away from us and like just going and enjoying some time away with some good friends of ours. And we went to a concert. It was actually a festival called Louder Than Life.
This is when we learned that we are too old for festivals.
Way too old for festivals.
So old.
And hence why it is my least favorite concert. Because we get there and we went late to the show because we're old. And we're like, we don't want to stand around for 12 hours today in the heat because we're old.
Yeah.
And so we get there and it's just
it was really hot.
Super hot. And it was super dusty. And there were so many people and there were so many like just mean people, and it was like it really kind of killed the whole vibe of the concert. And then like
you were really excited to see I Prevail, and then they were like super mean to the crowd. Like the crowd was not getting happy or amped enough for them, and they were like, fine, we'll just stop. Like they were so mean. I was
they still put on an awesome set, and I'm still super pumped I gotta see them.
They did.
And so like I said, it has nothing to do with the music, because like there were a bunch of bands that I wanted to see that were also like, you know, like those
guys I finally got to see Guar.
Yeah, so we saw Guar, which was crazy.
I did not go near.
We saw Slipknot, who was like the headliners. They were disappointing.
So disappointing.
Like,
I was never a big Slipknot fan.
I had grown up though, like listening to them a little bit, and like always heard how like ruckus their shows were, and like how crazy it was to see them live. And then we went there, and they had like treadmills, and it was super boring, and I was like, this sucks, and we left early because it was not fun.
Well, it didn't help that our friend and I both like, I don't know, like the smoke was everyone was smoking all around us, like even
just everywhere. Like you could not escape it. So by the end of the day, I could not, like I couldn't breathe. You felt like you had been smoking all day. Her eyes were watering. When we woke up the next morning, I had like a cough because it was so bad. It was so bad. But the trip was so fun because they are super fun. Well, like I got to see A Day to Remember. We got to see I Prevail.
That was fun.
We got to see Beartooth.
So you can't say it's your least favorite.
Guar. And like I said, it had nothing to do with the music, because I really enjoyed like getting to see all these bands that I wanted to see for years.
Yeah.
And hadn't had an opportunity to. And then you get to see them all in one day. Like it was super cool. But like the environment sucked.
I will say, I think we have one worse.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
So the reason I can say that was redeemed for me was the company. Like having our friends there. And we did get to see some of the bands that we wanted to. And there were memorable things taken away from it. Like I Prevail shouting at the crowd that they would never come back and play in Kentucky again. Or
the real star of the show, the sign language lady.
Oh my gosh, she was amazing.
There was a lady sitting in the corner, like just headbanging, having the time of her life, like signing all the words.
It was amazing. It was the greatest thing to watch ever.
And the bands took notice and like went over, and like some of the lead singers jumped down and like were singing with her, and she was just having the time of her life.
It was amazing.
Awesome.
Her arms though. She had to have been so tired after the end of that. But she was awesome.
The one that what was it called? The other concert that you really hated.
The other one that I really hated.
You said there's one other concert that was worse.
Yeah, the
Summer Slaughter Tour, is that the one you were talking about?
I wasn't even thinking about that, and I technically wasn't at that one because I was selling tickets.
No. The one that was.
Oh my gosh, yes. But again, still not the one I'm thinking of. But go ahead.
No, you go.
Summer Slaughter was so bad, guys. Okay, so we got tickets for free because Chase used to work at a place that had like.
Free tickets. They like box seats, so that's why we got to go to so many concerts.
Yes,
but
it was awesome.
It was this like summer tour that was like 15 like super heavy metal bands that just were kind of going around, and it started at like 2:00, which was super weird. And we got there at like 2:30, and it went until like 11, and we didn't stay the whole time because it was just so horrible. Like it was just monotonous.
The only good band was that chick or the girl that was the lead singer. Well, she didn't really do any clean vocals, did she?
No. But she was awesome. But anyways, what is the show you were talking about to kind of finish out this show?
So the show that I was talking about, we also got to see Thrice. It was your first time seeing Thrice. They were amazing. And Dustin Kensrue, amazing. He had the flu. Seems to be a common problem. Still killed it. Came out and sang. He was like, yesterday I didn't have a voice, so I'm going to do my best. And he sounded just like the albums. Yep. I mean, Dustin Kensrue literally cannot do any wrong. But he's so good. But we went to see Bring Me the Horizon, which at that time was one of your favorite bands. I don't know if they still are because of this.
Correct.
Like, I feel like this tainted for you. They were so bad.
So bad.
So bad. Literally at one point in the show, there was this like blood curdling scream, and I thought a woman was being murdered. But in fact, it was the lead singer trying to do his scream.
It was so bad. So like, this is a band that had been built up for me. Like, I really enjoyed them. I really liked their music. And so this was going to be the first time that I was going to get to see them. And it was like one of the first times that they had come to America in a really long time because they're from England.
Yeah. And we went to Nashville, which that part was super fun.
The trip was great because we had to spend that, night or two away, and it was great.
And we got to see the bassist from Metallica at a coffee shop.
Like, ate lunch next to him.
What?
Pretty awesome. Anyways, but we went to the show, and like I was so hyped up for this, and then they came out and just bombed. Like, it was so bad. And like like I said earlier in the show, we really judge bands on if they're able to do what they do on the album live, and this is a band that can't.
No.
And I know that like the lead singer had some struggles with like vocal cord damage and things like that, and so like, but like, he wasn't able to do anything that they used to. And they played some new songs and they were not good. And it was just like, it was so disappointing. And since that day, like if they come up on my shuffle, I just skip it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad because
there were also a lot of screaming girls.
It was just all around bad experience.
A lot of
they played at a stadium.
Yes. And it was like not full at all.
It was like what you would expect like a COVID concert to be like now. Like there was nobody there.
There were like, every 4 seats there might be.
So bad.
It was really bad,
but
guys. So bad.
It sucked, and it really turned me off for that band. So bands beware.
We have since, well, not even bands beware. We have since like looked up their stuff on YouTube, or like, we had seen some stuff before that said like, hey, they're not really that great live. Like, it's all studio magic. And we're like, oh, come on. Maybe they were having an off day. This kind of proved to us that was
it was really disappointing.
Actually true.
But now that we're at the exact same length of episode as we usually are.
Sorry, we lied.
What we're going to do is end this episode. But this is, like I said, going to be a start of our kind of series. So every 5 episodes, we're going to pick 5 things from one category that we love and share them with you guys. And I think it's kind of fun to kind of break up more serious discussions or more self-help talk or business talk or things like that, but to just have a little bit of fun together and kind of reminisce on some memories and have a good time and share that with you guys. But if you guys found any value out of this content, be sure to rate us on the podcast podcast service that you're listening to. And we would really appreciate it because it helps it get out to other people as well. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video. It helps us get it out to more people. Subscribe subscribe to our channel and also hit that notification bell so you can get future videos from us as well.
Yes, please.
But until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Bye.